So, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Now, apologies the lighting's not great, it's night time and I still haven't got the best lights in here. So this video is about a product that's been sent to me and it's my first one, and this one is the Junctek Coulomb meter. Never quite know how to say that word, but basically a battery monitor is what it says on there. Battery monitor. So it's basically a shunt is what it is. That's what a Coulomb meter is. It measures the amps and calculates the amp hours, and from that then gives you the percentage of your battery, which is very useful in any off-grid situation. You'd want to know the percentage of your battery. So what this is a bit different to most shunts, and it has the shunt itself, which isn't pictured on here. It then has the shunt control unit and then the display separately. When you open up the box, you got a piece of packaging, not important. You got a quick start guide, which I'm sure will be very useful. You have these weird fixing. I've watched a couple of other videos. This is like a fixing plate that's kind of really weird. They could sort something out about this, do something a bit more like the Renogy shunt. I'll show you the shunt. I'll put a clip in of the shunts. I've got them side by side. I'll take some footage tomorrow when it's lighter. But as you can see, the Renogy one has a nice plastic casing which holds the bolts in and everything, and that way you can screw it to a wall, whereas this has this weird plate which you put through the bolt hole and then screw it to the wall, so a bit weird. One thing I would improve on is that you also get some kind of connector, which I'm sure we'll need in a sec. You get a long cable, I'm presuming for the display, and then you get a bunch of small cables here, which we'll find out. One of them is a temperature sensor, and I'm guessing the other ones are data leads from the shunt to the control unit. So here we have the screen itself. It's a very kind of similar size to the Renogy one, and it has, in my opinion, a nicer connector. The Renogy one has just like a 4-pin connector like that with a white plug. Sorry, apologies about the autofocus, my camera's not being great at that. But this one has the nice, I think it's RS485, I'm not sure, but there it is, as you can see. And then this one is the main box of goodies, and it's got the QR code to scan for the app, because this shunt connects to your phone, which is kind of why I want it. And then it tells you what each of the ports are on the side, on the front here. So I will show you the shunt quickly because I've got a torch here. So this one here is the Renogy one, and that one at the back there is the Junctek one. As you can see, it's got a white connector on the top which will connect to the computer unit, and then you've got your output and your input. This is the Renogy meter screen, and as you can see, and the reason I put them both together is because I know this Renogy one is pretty accurate, so I'd like to see how accurate the Junctek one is alongside the Renogy one. So over here on my sofa now we have the screen. Let's try and wire this stuff up out of my cupboard where the light is slightly better. So that obviously, as I said, goes in there, and taking a look on here, I'm sure it's quite easy. Yeah, RS485, I was correct. Display. And then you just plug that one in there, get a little click. I've already installed the app on my phone, so I'll open that in a minute once it's all connected. We then have temperature sensor, so I'll grab that, which is just a 2-prong one, and that goes in the back. We've then got one with bare wires on. It's a 3-pin one, red, yellow and black, and then we have a 4-pin one which is red, yellow, black and green. I'm presuming this connects the box to the shunt itself, so we'll find the 4-pin one, because there's only one 4-pin one, and that's this one, and that plugs into there. And then this one is for controlling a relay, so you can turn something on and off at a certain voltage or possibly percentage, I'm not sure yet. And I am also not sure what that green plug is, but it definitely goes there. And the link, maybe you can link 2 of these together, I'm not sure either. But that's the one, that's the important ones. You need the one to connect to the shunt, the one to connect to the display, and then you have the temperature sensor. So all I'm going to do now is plug this 4-prong one into the shunt, and then we'll have a look at it on my phone and on the screen itself. And the last thing you will need is to use that little green plug in the bag and push it into the side of the unit and insert a positive cable from there to the positive of something like your isolator switch on your battery, preferably so when you flick that it stays on, therefore the shunt doesn't lose its memory. Your display shall turn on. Now as you can see, that's saying 26.5 pretty much, and this one is saying 26.5 as well, so we're both good on that point. Now you can set the whole shunt up from the screen, I believe, but obviously with it being the 4 buttons and a smaller screen, it's a bit more annoying. But you can connect the app too. So if you click the button search, and it might ask you to allow Bluetooth, which it did for me the first time, then you can click that there, and as you can see, it's all connected and it's reading 26.48, which is what that is reading, which is pretty much what that is reading. So we're all good on that part. Now the other thing that I saw in a video on this shunt is you got to make sure that this little on is on, because if it's off it doesn't count up the amp hours, which is really weird, but it will still work. So make sure that is connected and that's not saying off, make sure it's saying on, because then it will actually work. So it says we're drawing 0.4 amps and our Renogy one says 0.45, so we'll say that's pretty close as well. 10.59 watts, 11.9 watts, so we're a little bit out, but as I say, I don't know how accurate the shunt is, but so far I'm pretty accurate. So this is saying, yeah, 15.9 amp hours, which I have 280, as you can see from here. So let's set this. Battery value is 280, and click OK. Now we want to somehow percentage of remaining capacity. 100 says my Renogy shunt. So this will calibrate tomorrow, so when my solar's coming in and we reach 100%, we'll reach 100% when that one reaches 277 amp hours, but then it won't keep counting, it will stay at 100, because I believe the older version of this used to keep counting above 280 or whatever you set it at, which is obviously not very great. So it says 18 degrees external temperature. I'm guessing that's the temperature sensor on the thing itself. It's pretty warm in here, so that would make sense. You've got the battery time remaining. So if we click that, you can change the voltage range. So I'm never going to see anything below really 20 volts, and because it's a 24 volt battery, and I'm never going to see anything over 30. So if we set that there, then I'll show you what this does. So if you look here, we've got a really wide range of numbers here, but if we set that to 20 and 30, as you can see, it now goes from 20 to 30, so you can much easier see what your battery voltage is at. Now in terms of amps, I do occasionally draw 100 amps, so I'll put this at 150. My system can go up to 200, so let's go 150. And then that will again be much more accurate as to what is actually happening. So this is really what I wanted this shunt for when the company reached out to me, was the voltage curve, because I can now see what it's at, which if you know me, I love my electrics, so now I can see what my voltage is at here. You can see it puts the history down here, and that spans over like a day or so, I think. I don't know. We'll get to know it. I will come back to this once I've played with it a bit, and I'll update you guys on what I know. You've got relay mode, which is what I was talking about, so that might come in handy. You've got low capacity, so you could set it, so I'm going to select this to 20% because I don't really want to go below there. You can protect function, what's that? Oh, you can set all your protections for over voltage, low voltage, over current, over temperature, over, I'm not sure what that one is, or that one, low temperature protection, and then protection revert time, and then delay protection time. So yeah, you can set all of this if you need to, but I've already got my BMS doing that job, so I'm not going to worry about that. And you've got some services here that you can put in. About us is, yeah, just that. So I don't know if you can update these things, but for now it's at what it's at, and to be honest, I'm pretty happy with this. So if I click data cleaning, then it resets this little value down here, which is, this just counts how many amp hours it's added up in total. So if I go to my JKBMS app, you can see I've got all my protection settings all in here, and the balancing stuff and everything that's important to the battery, so that's why I'm not worried about it in the shunt. But also here I have cycle capacity, and that's 1165 amp hours. So that's what I've already done from this battery, although that's not quite accurate because this reaches 100% before the shunt does, because this doesn't count right, which means it stops counting the cycle capacity for some reason, even though it still measures amps coming in or out. But as you can see, it doesn't measure anything under 0.5 amps really, so being at 0.4 it just doesn't really, it just flicks on and off like that, as you can see. So it's not very accurate at the percentage, so I don't use this for the percentage, I use the shunt. But I will be using this one, as I say. Now I remember from before that after watching the video, what would be nice on this monitor is to have 279 amp hours up here and have the voltage down small, just kind of like here. You want to see the amp hours and percentage up big, and then you want the voltage is really unimportant with lithium, you really don't need to see it at all. But this is quite good. Let's go to the screen now. So we've got the voltage, which is nice to see. We've got how many amps we're drawing, which is about right, as I said, and then we have the watts here, and then kilowatt hours. So I'm guessing this kind of adds up as well, just like the total amp hours elapsed. This is the time remaining, so I could do this for 711 hours, so basically forever. I can record that. So we got settings. We can clear current, do everything that we can do in the app. Amp hour remaining. Brightness 80%, so you can change the brightness of the screen if you wanted to. Bring that down, as you see. So I might bring that down so it's kind of a similar brightness to my other one. So yeah, you can't really do much else on this screen, but it can sit there and tell you everything you need. So my plan with this is to put this screen in the cab of my van, and that way when I'm driving I can see how many amps are going in, what the voltage is, and just check that everything's going okay with. And then the idea is that I could also just pop onto my phone if I wanted to and see what that one's saying inside the back of my van. So good morning everyone, it's now the next morning. I wanted to show you a couple of things that I learned last night. If you tap the amps number, it will then give you like a percentage here that you can slide it across, so you can change it. So I've upped it a bit because it was a bit lower than what the Renogy one was saying. And then you could do the same with the voltage. If you just tap the voltage, you get a little slider that has a percentage. It's like 100%, or you can go less or more. I'm guessing that's percentage because it's sat at 100. This is the little charging thing I was on about. You got charging in, so you can see it's charging from here. The thing I like about the Renogy one is you can quickly glance, and as you can see it's flashing, there's up arrows. This one, there's only this little red little red arrow that turns to a green arrow when it's discharging. So that could be a bit clearer, but that's okay. And then here again you've got time until fully charged, because we're only charging with some solar, which is only 25 watts right now. It's only like 7 in the morning, and it's going to take 11 hours if it keeps doing that. But if you go into this screen, I learned a bit more. So this has, obviously, as we say, I think it's since you open the app, it's got this. That's why it's only just started again. But if you click the history, it's always defaults to off, and it calculates it. And then I don't know what this drop is, but you can slide back and forth, and you can see. So it's been pretty steady all night, obviously. But here it says, as you can see, it slides back, and basically this was at 9 hours and 37 minutes, 9 hours and 38 minutes of being on. So it would take quite a while, which is why you can do this custom check, and you can check it from, say, I want to check the last hour. So we're currently at 10 hours of it being on, so I can check the last hour if I put it at 9 and then hit OK, and it will calculate the last hour. and it will do that thing again. Oh, it's that way around. And I don't know what this is. Oh, that was me doing my breakfast this morning and putting the induction hob on, and that's why it goes up and down, because the induction hob flicks on and off. But that was when it was solid on, and that one as well. So yeah, so there's actually some interest in it, and then you can also slightly see the voltage drop as well. And if we slide it across, we can see that it goes down to 25 volts there. So that's what you can do. You can check the last hour on that little check thing, or you can check the first hour. You can move both sliders. So I think that's pretty cool actually, because then you're not just left with a whole graph. You can see this arrow's changed to, actually I think it's a blue arrow, but that's because my fridge has kicked in now. So now we're pulling 0.62 amps out the battery, 0.67 amps, so they're 16 watts, 18 watts, roughly about the same they are at the moment. But as you can see, the little arrow there indicates that power's coming out, which I also think that's the wrong way around, but hey ho. The blue means power's coming out, the red means power's going in, and that's what it is, and you still got your percentage there. This one doesn't flash. Maybe that's what they should do, is do what they've done here, where they got the flashing charge icon. That would be quite nice, and then you'd just be able to glance at it a bit like this one. So you can see the energy one's now solid again, and that means you're now discharging along with the down arrows. And I like the way everything's laid out, apart from I think amp hour should be replaced with volts, but other than that I do think this is a really little nifty meter. And these Renogy ones used to be £70, and then you might get them on discount for £60, but now they're about 90 odd quid. So they're really expensive now, and this I think is like 50 quid. So I'll put the link to this in the description obviously, and the way it connects to your phone, and I think once you got the hang of it, I think it's a really neat little device, and I definitely recommend this to anyone. You don't even have to tamper with anything. It's literally plug and play. I've just tampered with it because I want to know what the things do, and I was making it accurate to this, because as you can see they're pretty accurate now. But you don't have to do that. You can just set it up. It wasn't. I've still got the voltage exactly how it was, and you can see that's pretty much the same. If that drops down to 26.59, it will make sense to that. So it's pretty accurate overall. So yeah, as I say, I would definitely recommend this. I'll put the link to it in the description down below. If you've got any questions, by the time this video goes out, I'm sure I will have played it a bit more, and I'll have known the answer to any questions. So please do drop any questions in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And as I say, I think this is a really nifty little device, the fact that it connects to your phone. Obviously it is Bluetooth, so you have to be in range, but it's still quite neat if you're outside the van or in the cab, or well, I'm going to have this in the cab and this will be in the back. So yeah, really cool little device. So I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next week.